Now, Nancy Pelosi, the Speaker of the U.S. House of Representatives, is leading a congressional delegation to the Indo-Pacific region. The tour has been confirmed by her office in a statement which states that Pelosi will be visiting Singapore, Malaysia, South Korea and Japan. Now, what is interesting is that in this statement released by her office, there is no mention of her proposed visit or even a stopover in Taiwan, which has been the cause of heightening tensions between the United States and China in the last 3 weeks. The 6-member Democrat delegation plans to hold high-level talks in these nations, where their focus will be on issues such as mutual security, economic partnership, and also democratic governance in the region. Their talks will also cover issues such as trade, climate crisis, and human rights. Moreover, Singapore's Foreign Ministry has confirmed Pelosi's delegation will visit the country on the 1st and the 2nd of August with meetings that are scheduled with President Halimah Yacob and Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong.
President earlier in his term talked about a strong emphasis on the Asian Pacific. He has visited there, as Vice President has visited there, the Secretary of Commerce and others, and we want the Congress of the United States to be part of that initiative. Of course, as a West Coast person, we see the Pacific as that's our home. We're part of that as well. That is not to diminish the importance of our transatlantic relationships as well.
Now, all of this, of course, comes amidst the rising tensions between the United States and the Chinese administration due to earlier reports that Nancy Pelosi, in fact, plans to visit Taiwan, which is a self-ruled island which China considers is a renegade province that it wants to reunite as a part of its One China policy. On Thursday, the American President Joe Biden and his Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping held a pretty tense and a pretty long phone call that lasted for well over 2 hours, in which the two agreed to schedule their first in-person summit. The last time the two leaders had spoken was in the month of March, which was shortly after Russia began its invasion of Ukraine. But disagreements over Taiwan clouded the conversation. The Chinese President Xi Jinping warned Biden against playing with fire over Taiwan. In a statement, the Chinese media has quoted Xi Jinping and has said that the United States should abide by the One China principle, further asserting on how China firmly opposes Taiwan's independence and also any interference by any external forces. Now, Taiwan's absence in the itinerary released by Pelosi's office indicates, possibly, that the US may have caved in under pressure from China. The Biden administration, it seems, doesn't want to further strain the ties with China. The United States maintains a policy of strategic ambiguity over whether it would intervene militarily in case China were to invade into Taiwan. Now, to give us more insights in terms of the significance of this visit, we are joined in by Edward P. Joseph, who is a faculty at the Johns Hopkins School of Advanced International Studies. He's joining us live from Washington, D.C. Now, Mr. Joseph, this is a very crucial visit by this American congressional delegation being led by Nancy Pelosi. Now, over the course of the last 3-4 weeks, there's been a lot of controversy on whether Nancy Pelosi should visit Taiwan. The American president does not think she should. The Pentagon has also reportedly said that it does not believe that she should be visiting Taiwan. But still, she's on her visit to Asia Pacific. Do you think she'll visit Taiwan?
Well, she's announced that her itinerary, and she has left Taiwan off the itinerary. She's mentioned Japan, South Korea, Malaysia, and Singapore, and she has not mentioned Taiwan. So that would signal that she's not going to Taiwan. That would signal that the decision has been made, even though she didn't mention that. But that signals that we apparently know the answer to that question, and the answer is she's not going, and that creates problems of its own. Her going was also created problems. The intention to go without really fully coordinating the trip with the administration and understanding and getting a coherent U.S. approval and position and agreement that she should go really was baffling why that wasn't done. But so is the Chinese reaction. And we have to be very clear here that the Chinese reaction to this proposed visit, intended visit to Taiwan, was also unacceptable. There was a column in the government-controlled newspaper, Global Times, threatening to shoot down Nancy Pelosi's plane. And of course, once the rhetoric gets to that level, of a threat to that level, it cannot go through, not just because of a physical danger. Imagine she goes and her plane isn't shut down. Then you see President Xi Jinping has lost face. He's humiliated in front as he faces this critical Chinese Party Congress in the fall. And you have, again, a very dangerous situation. So it does. The bottom line is she seems that she's not going, and we do have a complex situation. Please.
Absolutely, indeed. It is a very complex situation at this point of time. Now, on the face of it, it does appear that she's not going. But generally, visits like this are seldom first announced. Generally, what happens is delegates make their visit, and then subsequently, this kind of a visit is announced to the rest of the world post facto. Do you think there was a bit of a problem in terms of how this was being planned, that, you know, information about a possible visit that she wants to visit Taiwan slipped out at a time when it should not have?
There's a concern about that, but let's be clear. It would be hard it's not impossible to keep a visit secret. Presidents have visited, for example, Iraq unannounced, and it's possible she could have done that. It's harder in her case because she's leading a delegation. That's more people, that's more staffers and others who inevitably know about it and learn about it. So it's harder in her case to keep all of that secret. And it also is not precedent setting. There was a former House Speaker, Newt Gingrich, who in 1997, who did visit Taiwan. But the larger question here is the lack of coordination within with the administration to get a clear position from the administration to go through with this, whether it was approved or not. But we should also be clear here about Chinese aggressive posture towards Taiwan. That's completely unacceptable. The incursions into the Taiwan air defense zone, the declaration by China that it does not consider the Taiwan Strait to be international waters, these are unacceptable. And it is reasonable for U.S. officials to want to visit Taiwan. And hopefully here, this would be my suggestion, there should be a visit by a U.S. official to Taiwan soon. A different congressional official should go to Taiwan and demonstrate that indeed the United States is friends with Taiwan and will not be deterred from visiting the country.
I think that's an interesting way that you've put it, that the United States is friends with Taiwan, and you also said that it is reasonable that a member of the Congress should visit Taiwan. But the question that I want to ask you is, because things are all very speculative at this point of time, we don't know whether she'll go or not go, or she'd meet a representative of Taiwan in a different location in the Asia Pacific. All of this could happen. But the question that I want to ask you is something that a lot of people are going to be talking about, is if Nancy Pelosi, after having stated her intention to visit Taiwan, does not do so, because the Chinese clearly warned the Americans, stating that, you know, America should not play with fire on the issue of Taiwan. Does it mean that the Americans have caved in under the pressure by the Chinese?
The very fact that you asked that question shows that it's problematic either way on this visit to have canceled it. The answer is it doesn't look good either way. It doesn't look good. It would have been perceived as highly provocative if she had gone, again, to the point where China had signaled through these controlled channels a willingness to shoot down the plane, meaning Xi Jinping's own personal credibility would have been at stake had they not shot down the plane. And also it does have the appearance of backing down in the face of Chinese unacceptable threats. And that's why another American official needs to visit Taiwan soon to demonstrate. Here's the key point. The key point is to deter China, China from an invasion of Taiwan. This is the key point. This is the goal, is to reestablish a credible deterrence in an environment that is charged. And we know also charged because of Chinese effective support for the Russian invasion, unprovoked Russian invasion of Ukraine, which additionally charges this atmosphere. And we know also about Chinese threats and aggression towards India. And so the answer to this is, again, deterrence to continue with the strong U.S., India, Australia, Japan, Quad, and other relationships of the United States with its partners like Japan, South Korea, India, Australia, to deter China and to show Taiwan and China that Chinese aggression will not be tolerated. Please.
All right. Interesting. Thank you very much indeed, Mr. Edward Joseph, for joining us from Washington, D.C. and getting us all those insights there.